Addiction is just a tool that people use because they don't want to deal with misunderstood feelings from their past. They usually end up trying to hide addiction until it becomes too much of a problem to hide from their partner or their family. Started. I don't like talking about my childhood, so I'm just gonna make it a little quick summary. Okay, so when I was young, my mom was a needle junkie. I would always wake up, there'd be needles and people just like laying on the floor, right? I used to go down to the corner store just to have somebody to watch me. Um, okay, so when I got taken from my mom and like moved in with my dad, right? Um, I got attacked by this husky when I was young. It grabbed a hold of my face, like right here. So I got peach fuzz that covers my scars, and it took me 30 years to grow that. Um, my appendix burst when I was like 8 in the parking lot of the hospital. My evil stepmom used to make me eat soap. Like when I moved from my mom to my dad's place, we ended up moving from a house to this other house, and we were in like a drug raid when I was like 6 or 7. I don't remember the drug raid per se, but I remember my grandma bitching about the cops not taking off their boots because she just mopped the floor. Um, but like my parents were never there. Even after he got treatment and stuff, and we moved again, and like my stepmom would always just be, "Oh, you fucking retard, why are you so stupid?" Like they used to take me to these hospitals that I had to spend the night in, and they like stick those things to your head, and you like sleep there to measure your brain waves or something. I don't know. I never really got told. But like the parents would always tell you, like they tell the kids now, even, don't worry about that. It doesn't you shouldn't worry about that right now, or just beat them up. Don't worry about that right now. Like when they ask about drugs and stuff like that, and I find that's a big problem. Like they should at least educate them. But anyway, so when I moved from Fort St. John to Edmonton, I failed grade 2 because I was at home the whole time because my appendix burst, and I had to get my appendix cleaned or my intestines or whatever. I was in the hospital for like a month or two, but that was prior to the 6 month that I was at home being told I was lying about my appendix hurting. But I remember like constantly being told that I'm not fitting in and like whatever. I remember realizing that we were all the same, or like the patterns, like, or the way I was thinking. I remember I wore 2 different socks one day, or I had a stain on my pants, and I was like, I hope nobody notices this. I hope nobody notices the stain or whatever, blah, 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 that I'm acting different today. But then I realized, like, if I notice stuff in people, then there's got to be other people that notice this stuff in me. Misunderstanding or the street degree. Okay, so when I was in school, like the last few years of school, I started selling drugs because it made me feel good about people would, you know, generally pretend like they wanted to hang around with me or whatever. So I like the power that I held him. And I was good at switching my personalities around. Like I learned how to, from the years of trying to survive, like I didn't finish school. I could not, for some reason, I could not remember anything from school. Like basic math, okay. But like I couldn't focus on anything. I went to school every day because I like structure, but like I only went, I feel like, because school for me was safer than for me sitting at home, right? And because of just the situation. There's a time in your life where you realize that you need to stop running from the pain and the hurt because there's nobody waiting for you on the other end of the door. Okay, so the street degree for me, like this is where I learned all my pattern recognition from, basically the struggle. Like I got put in sticky situations, but I was really good at hiding emotions, hiding fear, hiding nervousness, let's say, because I could I could push my mind somewhere else. Like I could, project myself somewhere else, and I could stay calm to the irrelevant situation. Like, I made some shitty choices though. Don't get me wrong. I was a thief and stuff, but people change if they want to change. You can't force somebody to change. Somebody needs to be willing to change. Like, when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere left for you to go, basically. Poor choices in rough times, okay? So I quit selling drugs because I had kids. I had my first kid, I quit selling drugs. But when we split up, okay, me and my ex, my first ex, that's what caused me to drink, okay? It wasn't her. It was me picking the wrong people to hang out with in the time of need. The friends I chose to pick to hang out with, the people I was around, they just constantly recommended drinking all the time. And that in turn led to me drinking for 15 years. Like, and it, right? Like, because my friend that I was hanging around with, he would just constantly recommend drinking. Let's just do some drinking. And then after 2 months of that, me forgetting about my feelings finally, or the feelings of hurt, I just started drinking. And I was drinking hard liquor because, I mean, like, I was broke. And that stuff did the same job quicker than beer did. And beer was expensive. But, like, that's drinking. Okay, so you can hide alcohol or drugs and stuff, or your addiction, for only so long. And then eventually you can hide that problem until everybody notices, and then it becomes a big problem, right? It ruins lives, relationships, your kids, the way people think about you. And this can follow you around for a long time because unfortunately a lot of people seem to think that you can't change. And once you do, people aren't going to want to congratulate for you. They'd rather just continue with the old bullying. So be aware of that because don't let it get to you. Otherwise, you might just fall back into the same trap. And nobody wants that. I mean, that's why most people want to quit drinking, right? Because they're sick of what they're doing. Okay, so here's the reality check. Most people relapse because AA for me, okay? So AA and treatment for me did not work. It made me actually feel worse. I'd leave treatment and I'd leave AA and then it would be like, what the hell just happened? Like therapy too. And then psychology, like I went to try to understand whatever, but it seemed like they didn't understand either. I'm not saying that they're all bad, but like, I just felt like the problem didn't get solved. They helped me figure out what I already knew, that the breakup was the trigger. Yeah, okay, I got that already, but what caused the trigger? You got to go all the way back to your childhood, basically. The first 13 years of your life, we deserve a certain amount of love and guidance, and if we don't get that, it can affect our whole lives, and chances are we're going to fucking turn out like our parents. Or slightly worse. We're going to over-exaggerate it and turn out slightly worse. And like breaking the cycle, like I said, AA and treatment for me did not work. I had to fucking do it on my own, and it wasn't easy. It took 3 years. The thing is, the accountability. You need to stop blaming others for your addiction. I find most people will go out of their way and study like ADD and ADHD to argue the point with people of why they are like they are than to actually fix themselves. But here's the thing too. All these self-help books, unfortunately, and all these books that are trying to teach you addiction help, they are completely useless if you can't understand your emotions first. Because once it boils down to it, once your emotions get involved, all the stuff that you read means nothing. You can think it does, but it doesn't. Emotions will take over your actions every time unless you are able to understand them. But the way that society is too, like emotions and feelings are that same thing, and there's like a gap between them. That if you can't, usually they just put pills on it and they add word, give you pills, say you have anxiety, so you never are able to deal with it. You just become an alcoholic. They say don't drink on these pills, but let's be real, you've probably been drinking for 10 years already or whatever, and like the drugs, man, like the government's to blame for the drug addiction, the drug epidemic. That's a different video. If you want to hear about it, I'll make it. I've already been making one about it, but it's a slippery slope, that one. Okay, the cost of being an alcoholic for me was my kids started to hate me. People started to hate me. Like I said, you can hide the addiction until the addiction becomes too much of a problem to hide, and then people will notice it. You can't hide it forever. And like I would drink around my kids, but I try to hide it from them, right? But they knew. I just put the bottle underneath the couch, and then one day we'd be cleaning, and there'd be 15 empty liquor bottles under the couch, or like I would drink every day, and it was affecting everything: jobs, relationships, life. That's what you need to realize. Like, you can't hide it forever, and you'll realize when it starts to affect everything in your life. Right? The awakening for me was I woke up. Okay, I started day drinking because I started drinking so much. Started day drinking, and then I'd be passed out by like 1. And I remember getting woke up one time by my kid's grandma, and they're like, "Yeah, I was fucking wasted." She took the kids, but apparently she came a couple times after that I don't remember, and I'd wake up just flipping out because the kids would call her because they were hungry, and I was fucking wasted by 10 o'clock and thinking I'd be able to last all day. But the way I drank fast. I drank fast and I'd get wasted. I drank hard liquor because it was quicker, cost less. I was broke. Because what happens with addiction is you start basing the whole addiction around everything: jobs, relationships, paychecks. You base fun time with your family, you base it all around the addiction until it becomes too much and everybody leaves you. And usually, like if you are sober, the sad part is that all the people that are trying to help you get sober, once you get sober, they're going to leave, unfortunately, because the damage has already been done from the addiction. And that's what made me realize I almost took my kid's life away also, like my dad took away from me. And that's the wake-up call, the awakening. I was sick, and I already knew that AA and shit didn't help for me because I already done it once. So I had to isolate. That was the change. I isolated, and this is when everything snapped for me, all the pattern recognition and stuff. After like the fog cleared, like let's say, because it took 3 years. There was 2 years, man, where I was so insecure, I didn't even want to leave the house. I thought I was never gonna be the same. Actually, like it was hard, man. Like by myself, I quit smoking and quit drinking at the same time, and I almost snapped. I almost lost my mind. Like I lost so much weight because I wasn't eating and stuff. Like after, like, because I was so just concerned about what everybody thought about me. Because I go out and people would still like judge me and shit. And like after 2 years of that, I fucking realized that like this is only going to keep me here. Worrying about what everybody else is thinking is only going to keep me in this spot. I had to change that about myself. So I had to like literally just not worry about what anybody thought about me. If anybody had an opinion, I would just say thank you and move on with my day. I started like working out, doing calisthenics again. I started calisthenics. But the thing is, like, people have to actually change. They have to actually be willing to put the effort in. Like, the way I seen it was, like, I could sit on my phone scrolling Facebook or YouTube for 20 minutes, or I could do the same thing doing squats, looking at my phone, doing squats, or, like, I could listen to music doing pull-ups. And that's what I started doing. And then after, like, a year, now I'm like, I don't care what people think. I'm in the best shape of my life. And quit drinking at the same time. I'm still relatively broke, but now I have money and that I don't base around my addiction. My kids and I have a great relationship, like, because I teach them that we are all the same, and I try to show them like the patterns, and I am always there for my kids now, because like I ask myself this every time that something comes up: is this how I would have wanted this situation handled when I was a kid? When they get in trouble and stuff, like I say that. I don't flip out. I try to guide them. Or actually, I don't try to guide them. I try to like push them into them realizing the answer themselves. Because that's the way it should be. We go 12 years of our lives never being able to make our own decisions, only being given options. And I find that affects our whole lives. We need to stop acting like we know everything. Kids need to be able to make mistakes and learn that it's okay to make mistakes. And our ego is getting involved, and that's why most kids nowadays don't want a lot to do with their parents, or they're calling out, but the parents don't realize it because they're too busy, elbows deep in their own shit that they never had to deal with. Real help shouldn't take a decade. It took too long for me, and I realized that therapy and psychology, AA and stuff was designed to keep us in that loop. This is my personal opinion, but I mean, open your eyes. They keep us there because they stop at the trigger. They don't go to why. Because, I mean, let's be real here. If you stop, think how much money the government and everybody would lose if we stopped having to pay for our addictions and started living our lives. Anyway, I hope this video helped somewhat.